Welcome to Functionally Speaking, the podcast where two clinicians share one brain cell and way too many opinions.
I'm Laura, your mineral-obsessed dietitian who gets fired up about gut health, metabolism, and fertility, with enough sass to keep it interesting and enough nuance to keep it real.
And I'm Danielle, a physician assistant obsessed with gut health, hormones, and calling out bullshit.
We're here for the nuance, the hot takes, the facts your certification skipped over, and the occasional spiral into chaos.
If you're a health coach, practitioner, or clinician who's slightly functional, just like our mitochondria in our recording process, you're in the right place.
We're not here to sugarcoat the science or pretend there's one right way to do this work. We're doing it our way, unfiltered, slightly feral, and always with love for the humans we serve. Let's get into it.
All right, welcome back to another hot take episode of Functionally Speaking, the clinical pod that spirals responsibly. We have hot topics today, and our hot topic is brought to you by us, Unconventional Collaborative, an interdisciplinary virtual mastermind for practitioners, trainers, and coaches to elevate their practice. We are where community meets education. So if you're a coach, practitioner, or trainer, and you want a community of like-minded humans to bounce ideas off of and have your whole year of education plan for you so that you can be better for your people. Hi, hello, we did that for you. Message us, go to our Instagram and find our link to join, and we would love to have you in our community. So
anyway,
what are we talking about today, Laura?
You're not cleared for CrossFit at 6 weeks postpartum, period.
The end. Can we just leave the episode at that?
I would love to, honestly. And I think what's so hard about this discussion is that people think that when you say this stuff that you're shaming women. And that's not the fucking point. And that's what drives, I think, both of us crazy, is that we are both fitness-led women. We both have been working out our entire lives. We are people who love being active. It's literally a part of our personalities. So I think we feel more qualified to even talk about this, one, because we're practitioners, and two, because it's not like we're people who are you shouldn't work out. You should be a flower. No, we think that you should be able to push hard, but not at 6 weeks postpartum.
Goddamn people.
What are we doing?
Sit down and unfollow the Fitfluencers.
Literally.
Hit the unfollow button.
Yeah.
Unfollow. If they are front squatting 200 pounds at 3 months postpartum, that isn't fitness. That's their body dysmorphia screaming.
What are you doing?
I don't know. And how? Here's my beef is a lot of these people sell it as I'm taking care of myself so I can be better for my kids, and I'm taking care of my health. And it's and I'm better than you because I built this foundation while I was pregnant and before I was pregnant. And it's ma'am, doing all of that and being active and having all of that into your pregnant, that is fucking phenomenal. I'm never going to take that from a woman, and it's going to make a lot of things a lot easier most of the time. But your uterus still takes 18 months to 2 years to fully reduce down to its side. Your pelvic floor still takes a lot of time to recover. That does not make you invincible. I'm invincible.
Well, and I just think,
no.
Why is that the standard? And why are these athletes and fitfluencers making people feel bad? If I can't tell you, anytime I mention this stuff on my stories, and I'm sure you're similar, is the outpouring of people who are in my DMs being thank you for saying something. I feel so awful. I'm trying to take care of my kid and I'm not sleeping much and I have a job and I have all these responsibilities and I don't know how they do it. And here's how they do it. One, they're heavily disordered, especially if it's not their full-time job. And they do that instead of doing other things. And or two, they're an elite athlete where that's their job, right? If you have to go back to your 9-to-5 job, if that's their job, they have to go back to it. So I guess don't have to, but that's their source of income, right? That's their job. So it's also understanding context of Danielle and I talk about all the time when we'll see things and we're this is screaming disordered behavior and they're getting praised for it. And I'm not trying to shame the person for wanting what's best for their health and their body. The problem is that's usually not what's best for their health and their body, especially honestly, the first year postpartum. And listen, I've lived through 2 postpartum periods. I can literally say that from my whole being. I work from home. I have a home gym. I set my own schedule. I have flexibility. What I don't have is help and support because we don't have any family close and we rely on daycare. But I have a lot of things that set me up for more success than I think a lot of average women do. And I still would not be doing what these people were doing because it's what? You're sleep deprived. you just went through 9 to 10 months of the hardest thing your body will ever go through. You have a baby that's depending on you, whether you're nursing or not, whether you're pumping or not. And your body, they show that your body is not back to normal. Your hormones are not back to normal,
Takes
even
a long time.
like for 2 years.
Yeah.
And like most women go into pregnancy anymore completely depleted anyway. So like, what are we doing? It's just like, I think the two of us just constantly say like, what are we doing?
Yeah. To put this back on the clinician, like how the clinician needs to be, or how we think they could be working with people is really screening for this. Like I know we talk about our intake forms a lot, but like asking the person like how much activity that they are doing. And a lot of these postpartum women are seeing these fitfluencers and they are doing too much, like lifting 5 days a week and running a couple of days a week. Like it's just, I honestly want to see a micronutrient panel on every woman before they enter back into intense, like really fitness based exercise, not like recovery and pelvic floor. And there are a lot of programs that I know, like Brianna Battles is one of them. Like even, a week or two postpartum, people are doing like breathing exercises.
Right, which is
great. I think those things are fantastic. And it's helping to set yourself up for success for when you do get back into a lot more of that, like more intense and competitive fitness type of stuff. But when you have women who are coming to you postpartum, like this, to me, it's just another form of this of being disordered and body dysmorphia. And I don't get quite as many people.
Like bounce back culture too, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that really grinds my gears. Is they're like, I'm anti bounce back culture, and then they're like, you're
showing their body. And I personally love the before and after photos of 1 day postpartum and like 6 months postpartum. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit, your body's changed. Like, there's not a single woman I don't know. I mean, maybe body weight and composition hasn't changed in 6 months for some women, but like your body changes.
Most women still look pregnant day one postpartum.
Yes, that's the whole fucking point of like, why are we relying on before and afters when like I hate before and after photos.
I do too. They give me the ick. They give me a massive,
like,
massive
the
ick.
Postpartum ones give me even bigger ick because I'm like, you just birthed this beautiful baby. You just went through this incredibly transformational process. And this is what you care about. And I'm not saying you shouldn't care about your health. That's like not what we're about at all. But like the fact that that's the surface level that you care about, like, is that what you want your kids to see? I don't know. Like I think about those things deeply too.
I think we should break down for people or the clinicians who are listening as to like why this really truly isn't great. Like I know the woman who just did like an ultra marathon and she's like, you see her like breastfeeding her baby at like mile 50 or whatever. And again, I will say it again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like,
yes,
she's clearly keeping up her milk supply, but at what cost? But here are the considerations.
Is she though? I think this is another thing that, sorry for the sidebar, like I don't think enough fitfluencers are being fully transparent on their breastfeeding journey. And I understand it's a very sensitive, vulnerable subject. I didn't share a ton with my second because like people just have opinions.
And it's,
but I think it's misleading to show like, hey, I, breastfeed and I run ultra marathons. Like, do you though? Like, how well is that actually working? And then like, you're at risk for stress fractures postpartum and your body. So your baby takes 10% of your minerals in the third trimester minimally. Then if you continue to nurse, they continue to take minerals from you, which are important for things like bone health and hormone health and every part of your being. And so I think it's also like, are they actually being transparent? And that's what kills me, is because then women basically compare themselves. So anyway, I'm like, are you actually doing that though? Like, are you fully, and listen, I combo fed both my kids at some point. So like, I'm not anti-formula at all. It's what's necessary. But like, be open and honest about it if you're going to put yourself out there and say like, I ultra marathon ran and nursed my baby.
Yeah, agree 100%. And I just think, for the person who may be like, oh, I think it's fine to return to running at 6 weeks and heavy weightlifting and the girl who did a CrossFit competition 2 weeks postpartum. And, it really icked me out, the number of pelvic floor PTs who were like, you have no idea what the new research is showing. And I'm like, okay, but what's actually the fucking research weenies? We need research. And also like, do you actually work with humans making these statements?
And also like, what's the long-term ramification of that?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, you've said this ad nauseum, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And like, just at what cost? For your pride? Like, I don't know.
So here are the reasons that we're saying this. And I think it's important for us to break this down for clinicians so that they can really understand why we are taking the stance that we are on this. Number one, sleep deprivation. Again, and you kind of already touched on this, like no matter how you're feeding your child and what the first, like what, 6 to 8, 12, how long are you up in the middle of the night for with a baby?
My first was 9 months and
Okay.
my second was 13, almost 14 months. And I think my kids are pretty on the lower end.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say average, I've heard it's between 6 months and 2 years is when kids fully sleep through the night. And it just depends.
Yeah. And especially, I would say very heavily in that first year when you're feeding and your sleep is so disrupted. I mean, there were so many times I was getting text messages from people like 2 a.m. Hi, I'm awake and I'm reading.
And not to
you're
mention,
just sleep deprived. And when you don't sleep well, like you literally don't recover. And so again, do you want to go for a walk? Do your pelvic floor exercise? Yes. All of those things, get some movement in. But is it really, like we talked about on the last episode with the cold plunging and the stress bucket? And it's like, when you are sleep deprived, it literally taxes every single system in your body. It affects your food choices. It affects your energy. It affects your blood sugar regulation. So then we're going to, again, throw gasoline on a fire with like, let's go out and do this HIIT workout or go to Orange Theory or run 6 miles. And I know that it's very trendy to like, do it no matter what. And it's just,
well, I also think
this isn't like one bad night of sleep. I get it. Like I have that like occasional bad night of sleep and sometimes I will take a rest day and other times I'm like, you know what? I feel okay to push through. Yeah. This is chronic for new moms. Like they get the one good night of sleep and they're like, hallelujah, how much can I do in 24 hours? Somebody take my children. I got shit to do, Well,
so I think
it's
too,
different.
is that you have to, I say this all the time, but you have to zoom out on your client and you have to ask not only what is their sleep looking like in that postpartum period, but what did it look like in the third trimester during pregnancy? Like I was pretty lucky, but I had a lot of friends who had insomnia and issues sleeping. And by the end, everyone has trouble sleeping by the end because you're so freaking uncomfortable. Like even if like hormonally you're fine, but like you have a giant bowling ball in the middle of your belly.
Ugh, I cannot
So
even
I think
imagine.
that's important. And then like, it is so true that like, weeks 1 through 2, maybe month 1, like your baby's literally getting up every 45 minutes. And then all of a sudden your baby does like a 3-hour stretch and you're like, I feel golden. And so it's also having this discussion with the client of like, I love that for you, but also making sure that the movements that they're doing make sense, understanding that history. Okay, you're 3 months postpartum and you're finally getting, 2, 3-hour, 4-hour stretches, whatever. But it's been 3 months plus, however many months pregnancy wise, like we're talking a huge sleep debt. And so this is why like the stuff that Brianna Battles talks about is like, yes, that breath work and reconnecting yourselves to your core and strengthening your body so you can support baby and all of that is so incredibly important. Like we're not dismissing that at all, but like like you just said, heading back to like a CrossFit class where I used to I used to like beg my CrossFit owners that we could do some type of prenatal training. Because most of these fitness trainers are not skilled in prenatal and postpartum movement and bodies. So, a woman goes in and she got 3 hours of sleep. She feels like a rock star because she's just getting 45 minutes of sleep. And she's like, yeah, heck yeah, I was cleared by my doctor because the doctor does absolutely nothing.
Knows nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, how are you doing? And you're like, I don't know. I have a baby. And they're like, great, you're cleared.
Bye.
And so then you go to a gym and they're like, well, you look great. You said you feel great. And all of a sudden, like you're putting weight on your bar and, you have only slept 3 hours at a time. It's really trying to remind people that slow is fast in this time period. And the goal is to do less now so you can do more later. And that's not, I think the message that people miss is what we're talking about is we're not saying like, I want you to be a rock star. If you want to do an ultra marathon, I want you to do that. If you want to do a CrossFit competition, I want you to do that. But this isn't the season of life for it.
No, it's just not. And another reason for that, just sliding down our list here, depletion. You enter pregnancy at the highest nutrient status and mineral status that you're going to, and you literally have another being taking you're just not, I don't care how many prenatals you take or how much you're eating or how pristine your diet was while you were pregnant, you are literally growing another human being. And so
another organ.
Yeah. And then, and another organ. So, and so many women have like the nausea and they're living off Sour Patch Kids and, salt and vinegar chips in that the first 6 to 9 weeks because of just, it's the only thing that they can keep down. And I'm not shaming that at all. Like, I have no right to. Also, I've never had a child over here. We just
Right. But like, it's
kind.
not, it's really hard. I would say I, with all of my pregnant clients and myself included, it's hard to eat, not just like well, but eat enough, because either there's nausea or there's fatigue or heartburn, or all of a sudden now you have a human
A bowling
pressing
ball.
on, like pressing on your intestines and your stomach. So there's no room for food. And so it's like, yeah, like and the depletion is, I think this is what's so hard, is like depletion is somewhat normal in this season of life because of what's happening. But if you listen to like other cultures and how they handle like that first, 40 days postpartum or whatever it is, we also don't honor that in the US. And I don't believe in the, like, there's this whole thing of like 5 days in bed, 5 days on bed, 5 days around bed. Like, I don't think that that's
What is that?
beneficial. It's basically saying that, like, in order to recover, like the first 5 days you should stay in bed and everyone else should bring baby to you. And yeah, like it would drive me mad. I did not do that with either.
My joints hurt just thinking about that.
Yeah. So I think that there is a culture. I don't know if it was Japan or some other culture where they literally have like these spas that women go to and like almost get pampered in the first 40 days.
I immediately thought of vaginal steaming when you said that. I don't know why.
Well, they might do that. I mean, I know that it's called something that they recommend postpartum. I did not do it either because I was just surviving. I think it's also like just culturally, especially in the United States, it's very culturally like not acceptable to slow down. And so the depletion continues. And I think that's the problem is that we're talking about, is like the depletion is going to happen no matter what you do.
Yeah.
The goal is to replete.
Minimize that too. Like, I mean, there are, and it's, we have here, like, how healthy did someone go into pregnancy? And I think that's a consideration clinicians should talk, were they a walking dumpster fire going into their pregnancy? Like, we've all seen that happen where the pregnancy wasn't planned, not shaming anybody.
Yeah.
Shit happens when you're not paying attention Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Or were they like, did they spend 6 months like optimizing their health? Were they knew they were trying to conceive? They were on a high quality prenatal. They were eating great. They haven't dieted in the past 2 years. Like, their mental health was doing good. They feel like they have community, their relationship, like those things matter. And I do think, again, we were talking about this on the Collab and Connect call the other day, just about like your health resiliency, right? So like building that, there is going to be a difference between the person who's able to return to movement and exercise depending on how they went into pregnancy. I do think that is a factor.
I agree.
What I don't think is that CrossFit competitions and super heavy fucking weight on your back in the first couple of months and running sprints, I cannot think of an instance where I feel like that is beneficial to a woman. I just
necessary.
Just why?
Like, why? Yeah.
And that's where I just keep going back to like the body dysmorphia thing is,
and I think we've both talked about this before too, is like kind of this mental health status too, of like,
yes,
is exercise your only outlet? Because when someone suffers an injury, it's kind of similar to this postpartum period of like, if that's stripped away from you, what else do you have?
Amen.
And I think that's important too. And the mental health status as a clinician kind of evaluating is so much bigger than just like, are they utilizing exercise, right? Like postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, postpartum
psychosis.
Thank you. Like, what's the last one? Like, all of those are real. And so are they masking that by using exercise? Are they, is it that they think that if they just work out harder and they just, whatever, fix their body, which why isn't he fixing? You just had a baby. Like, I think that's important too. And of course, like if that's all they've ever known, then that's all they're going to feel comfortable doing. And so, I think therapy is so valuable, which here's the thing, it's hard postpartum to fit anything into your schedule. Like you think like, oh, maternity leave is going to be so easy because I get 12 weeks of doing absolutely nothing and just hanging with my baby. And baby's going to sleep the whole time, but your baby's sleeping at 45 minutes and then 45 minutes of feet. Like it's insanity. So you also have to take that in consideration too, and really have that discussion with them of like, is this like exercise is not therapy? Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we both are of the mind, like, and we know exercise has a lot of mental health benefits, but I also think it can be very damaging if we're using it inappropriately. And one of the things that I talked about in one of my master classes, and I talked to my trying to conceive people, if it is an issue, is like relationship to food and body. That has to be, I think that's such an underrated thing to be talking to your clients about who are, that they're trying to conceive, right? Like, again, sometimes it happens where people, they just get pregnant and they weren't planning it and whatever. But I'm talking about for the population we know they're trying to conceive, like that needs to be a part of your assessment, because the body does not just like bounce back to normal. Like, I think you even said one time, like, you're like, I don't think my hips will ever, like, they're bigger than they ever, like, this sounds so bad to be like, they're bigger than they ever were. But
they
like,
are. I mean, I feel like I didn't have hips before kids, and now I do. And, I think that as a clinician, you have to also honor that, like, body image stuff is hard postpartum because you're in a foreign body. And so I think what sometimes people cling to is what they knew. And sometimes exercise and fitness is what they knew, right? It's how they got rewarded, whatever that might be, by clicking a PR or like, someone congratulating them or them winning a competition, whatever it might be. And so in a foreign body, like, I'm very lucky that I did a lot of work before having kids, because I came from that background of like achieving and being a Division I athlete and being a CrossFit athlete. Like, I had all of that. And I'm so thankful I did the work, but a lot of clients didn't know they needed to do the work. And so it's really helping them navigate that and understanding, like, it is going to feel weird in their body. They're going to have different sensations and different feelings of being in a body that just, it is also very weird, by the way, to one day have a baby moving in your belly and the next day just have a bowl full of Jello. Like, it is a weird ass feeling. And you get phantom movement, which is also weird. Yeah. Yeah, because like you're so used to that, like,
thing
thing
that I
moving.
can like relate to is a bowel movement with that.
Yes, I mean, yes, though. Like, I mean, you'll start having like gas movement, and you're like, there's still a baby in there? You're like, no, I just need to fart. So, anyway, but I do think that, like, you're right, like that relationship. And another thing that I tell a lot of clients and use motivation for is like, what do you want your kids to see?
Amen.
And I think this is where sometimes it gets too toxic of like, oh, well, I'm doing this so I can show my kids that I care about my health. Okay. Yeah. Caring about your health sometimes is also resting. Caring about your health is sometimes going for a walk because you need movement, but not going to the CrossFit class because you didn't sleep well last night.
Right.
It's having this discussion of like, I always talk about exercise as a spectrum to my clients of like that. We always have this theory in our head that like, and everyone has something different, right? Like if you're a CrossFitter, you think you need to hit a 60-minute CrossFit class. If you're an Orange Theory person, it's a 60-minute, like everyone has that like time frame in their mind and the intensity in their mind that if they don't hit it, then it didn't count. And so I'm like, okay, but if you can't get there, and you probably shouldn't get there right now, wouldn't a 5-minute walk be better than nothing? It's kind of just like finding that spectrum of like, what season of life are you in and what movement makes the most sense to get the benefits of exercise, because we truly believe in strength training and walking and everything like that, without then adding more downside effects, which is depletion and dysregulation and, literally bone fractures, like things. I've heard so many women go back to running too early and they have a fracture. Like, it's not uncommon.
Yeah. Anything else to add to, support and community was the other thing that we had jotted down here too. This is so, Laura's, there's a lot of people this plays a huge role. Like, how much support do you have around you and how much is taken off of your plate by grandparents or other family members or family friend or whoever that like is watching baby while you're able to exercise and things like that. And I think that's just another thing that we don't see these fitness influencers saying like, oh, like my parents watch my kids 3 days a week and it doesn't matter if they're sick or not, like with daycare, like my parents are always watching them and we have all the support and we have all of these financial resources and like, that's great. Like, I understand that people work hard to like build their businesses or like save their money so that they can have those things. And that's fantastic. I will never not like give someone that credit where they're due, but I just think a little transparent. Like, I feel like the people who don't have the support are really transparent about like, this is what my life looks like. Like, my house is messy. I'm doing it messy. Like, just with my kids are around and they're in the videos that I shoot for like whatever, because that's just how my life is. And I don't have the support. And we choose to keep our kids home or like whatever, or if they go to daycare and then they're sick, like that's just what life looks like. And I just wish that more people who had like every single resource at their disposal, and like 2 sets of grandparents would mention that from time to time, because I do think that that plays a role into recovery also, because like maybe you can't get away, maybe you are just so zonked those first couple of weeks that you're not even doing like your pelvic floor exercises because you're literally just trying to survive. And so I do think that that plays a role. And I don't I don't have a better way to say this, but how quickly or like the trajectory someone takes to recovery and return to fitness, like that does play a role.
Yes. It's, oh my God. I mean, we delayed having kids because we didn't have any family close. That was not the only reason, but one of the biggest reasons. And now living through that, it's incredibly challenging. And I don't think people are transparent enough. And I also don't think the people who have that support realize how good they have it.
No.
The only parenting hack, someone posted that the only parenting hack is having grandparents close by. And like, we are very lucky because my husband's parents come and visit, or we go visit them, but it's 2 hours away. It's not a quick like, hey, can you watch the kids today? So it is huge. And when they're here, like I've talked to Danielle about this, like my HRV increases, my sleep is bad. Like it's amazing. And it's not even like I don't parent when they're here. It's not like I drop the kids and I'm like, peace. But it's just like having that extension to be like, if I need to leave the house, if I need to go pee, if I want to go for a walk by myself, it's an option.
There's an exhale. Your body just like,
yeah. And I think that's a really important thing to ask your clients, because I think so many women just grit and bear it. I think I did with I know I did with my first. I was like, well, I guess this is just how life is. Right. And so it might not be that they may never have the resource of grandparents or their parents close by, but it's helping them find community and find support so that they don't feel like they have to do it alone, because we never were meant to. And we live in a society that almost like tries to put women on a pedestal for doing it all, when like we were never meant to do it all. Our kids were never meant to only have us as their caregivers. They were meant to have a community of caregivers. And so I think that is such a valuable question to ask, especially the moms of young kids, of like, who is your support? What kind of support do you have? How often do you have support? Like, who do you view as a part of your community, right? Like having these questions, I think, allows you to understand their capacity, because they might not truly understand the capacity and they might be really freaking hard on themselves. And you can show them like, of course you can't make it to the gym 3 days a week. You don't have a home gym and you don't have childcare outside of daycare. Like, let's talk about like doing at-home YouTube videos and going for walks with your kids. Like, let's find realistic expectations so that we can help them with their realistic view on what return to exercise looks like postpartum.
This is not my area of expertise, and I've not lived through it. Like, disclaimers. I guess I probably should have said that up front. But I do think I've learned a thing or two in the collaborative from we have some wonderful pelvic floor PTs who are incredibly intelligent in there talking about this. And, I've listened to a lot of intelligent people speak on this. And I just don't think that a reasonable return to exercise, like you were doing prepartum.
Prenatally.
I'm going to say
perinatally. Is it perinatally?
We're saying prepartum here. Okay. Live with it. I don't think it's 3 months. I really don't. And, I think it's so important to talk to your clients about giving themselves grace, and about what season of life they're in, and encouraging them to slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and lower and slower during this time period, I think is really, really important. And I would also talk to them about ditching and unfollowing the unrealistic BS that they see on Instagram. Like, if it's not making them feel good, like, just you can, and if they're your close friends and you don't want to offend them, like, you can mute them.
Yes.
You can mute people and they have no idea that you're not seeing their content. I mean, you may stop liking their stuff and whatever, but for the person who needs to hear that.
I mean, I think that's one of the best things. Like, my 2 postpartum experiences so different. And one of them was just the way I consumed content in both postpartum periods.
I hear a lot of moms say that because they were so, I don't want this to come out the wrong way. They were so worried about like being such a good mom that they were consuming all of the content.
Yeah.
And so then it became like overwhelming and overstimulating and just feeling like they are doing things wrong with that first child. And then they realized, like, fuck the apps that have all the colors with the time tracking every pee, poop, and sleep. And, listen, if that's your approach, whatever, you do you. And I don't have kids. I do pay attention to my dog's stool, but,
There's a difference between paying attention and hyperfixating on an obsession
yes,
over it.
thank you.
Kind of
That's
like we
what I was
talked
trying to
about
get at.
food too,
Yeah.
right? Like there is, yes, like you can be a
Like,
really
what's the
good
goal
mom
here?
and
What is the
yeah,
goal?
what's the goal? Because
What's the
the goal
point?
is not to control every last bit. And it's just being realistic and like, hey, if you can make it to the gym or work out once a week in that first year postpartum, great. Isn't that better than nothing?
Do you have some favorite accounts for moms or like postpartum? Like, I know I think we both really like Brianna Battles, but I'm not really in that realm.
It depends like where someone is in their postpartum fitness journey. It depends like what they're, obviously I think everyone should go to a pelvic floor PT because
Yeah, totally.
your OBGYN or your midwife is not going to fully assess you. And like my midwife defers to pelvic floor PTs. And I think a lot of OBGYNs should do the same of like, get looked at, you understand. And it can be helpful actually to go before you have a baby because then they can also understand what happened postpartum. But I think they have some good resources too. Mama Stay Fit is one.
Oh,
she has a lot of stuff.
She's good.
Empowered. Oh my God, what's the name? Empowered Birth? No, there's Empowered and Expecting is another one. I knew I'd get there eventually. And then if you're just looking for like general at-home workouts, my favorite is Nourish Move Love. Lindsay has had 3 kids of her own and her workouts are usually like 20, 30 minutes max. She's on YouTube. It's free. And it's like, it spans the gamut of like 10-minute workouts to 30-minute workouts. So like you can also just like find a workout that you can do at home in a short period of time or with your kids around when like you just turn on a TV and they're playing. And I just think she has a large variation. I think the problem just is you need to make sure that you understand your body and where it is physically. And I think, Brie Battles and Mama Stay Fit and Expecting and Empowered or Empowered and Expecting, well, we can link it. They have like that initial postpartum program that does more of that like breath work and connection to core and like stability stuff. And like I know my pelvic floor PT, shout out to Heather, she's in the collaborative too, she did a return to run program for me. And it was very based on like my needs and like a lot of like single leg work before I ever.
How far postpartum were you before you took your first run? Because I feel like I know the answer to this.
I forget. It was no sooner than 12 weeks. I think maybe 4 months, 5 months is when I did my first.
I thought it was longer than that. I thought it
might have been.
I thought it was further down.
I think it was the summer. So I want to say it was probably 4 or 5 months, but it was not a run. It was a running exercises and it was run walk. It was not, I don't think I hit a full run until maybe like August, which would have put me at like 6 or 7 months postpartum.
Not 6 weeks, you mean?
Aren't you kidding? My organs would have been falling out. I don't know how people do that.
Dude, that one, that CrossFit post that we talked about, the girl who like did a competition 2 weeks post, but there are some women who showed up in those comment. Like I don't know about you, but I'm living for comment sections
on
Instagram these days.
Me too.
The reel that I sent you guys about like the boomers recently about like how boomers have like fucking.
I didn't have a chance to go in there. I need to go in the comments.
You need to dig in the comments on that one. But there were a bunch of women who were like, my fucking organs would have fell out. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
literally,
there were women like showing up.
Especially my first, so I feel like because I did more pelvic floor PT between pregnancies,
1 and 2,
yeah, I think I fared so much better. So like literally shout out to pelvic floor PTs. But like after my first, I couldn't do a jump rope probably till 2 years postpartum. And I did pelvic floor PT postpartum, like 2 years until I could, and granted, I think it's also dependent on your comfortability of like, I didn't want to pee my pants. I think there also became this like kind of, joke of like, haha, I pee my pants now. And it's like, that's not a good thing. I don't want to pee my pants. And like,
not on my list, not on my bingo card. No,
like it's not something to be proud of. Like, go get help, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
what takeaways do we have for people to talk to their clients with, like how to assess like readiness for exercise? Like, I think referring to a professional is like obviously the gold standard, like sending them to pelvic floor PT.
Yeah.
But I think like a lot of the basics here, just are you sleeping through the night? Are you having any pain or discomfort? Are you able to eat enough food to support that activity? Right? Like, I mean, fuck?
I also
Like,
think by asking these questions, like asking about nutrition, asking about hydration, asking about stress, community, breastfeeding, sleep, by asking about all of that, it also helps them reflect. Because I just think that it's so hard to be a human in this world, but like a mom is on like under a microscope, but like she's not doing enough. She's not the best parent. She's not bouncing back, whatever it might be. So if you can have that safe conversation and reflect back to her all that she is doing and all that is really hard, I think that also allows her to get some grace into where she is in that postpartum fitness journey.
yeah, I agree. I think I have no notes on that. So anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, this has been like probably an extra little, this has probably been,
Hopefully spiraled responsibly. I'm not sure.
yeah, we're uncertain. Next week, we will be talking about why undereating is wrecking your clients' hormones and metabolism. So
We see it all the time.
stay tuned for that. And as a reminder, don't skip the basics for biohacking. See you next week.
Bye.